Yeah, and I kind of wanted Mia to push her into the water with a shark.
Oh my gosh, that would have been crazy.
That would have been a trial after his death, definitely.
I was saying that girl is going to go into school and pretend she had something to do with saving these girls.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I pulled her out. I thought I was the one who fired the flare.
I punched that shark in the face.
Oh dear, hated her so much. I just wanted more bad things to happen to her, but nothing did. And yeah, that's out of the water. End of film. That's it. They're done. They survived. I almost wanted them to reconvene with Mia Long and just be like with Mia Long and be like, your husband died. Sorry. Just have some kind of reconciliation. But we didn't. They're on the boat and they're out.
Yeah, Nia Long was none the wiser. She had no idea anything was wrong.
That's going to be a conversation tonight.
Yeah.
That's going to be tough. Yeah. So yeah, that's 47 meters down, Uncaged. Anything we skipped over? Anything you want to talk about? Any other thoughts?
I don't think so. I feel like we've really thoroughly covered that. Yeah, I feel like it was fun, and I thought that it was interesting, the comparison of the different situations between the two movies and how they had their own scary factors to go with them. But I think that the Uncaged is, to me, the worst scenario, because obviously they find ways, they figure out routes and stuff. But I feel like more likely, if I was going to be in that situation and I wasn't in a fictional movie, is that you would just be lost down there and you would not get out and you would just suffocate down there or get eaten by a shark. 47 meters down, obviously it's very dangerous to come up to the surface, but you know it's there.
And you know there's somebody up there who knows where you are.
Yeah.
So if you can survive down there, you'll probably be okay. Whereas Uncaged, everyone who knows they're there is dead, and so halfway through the film, so it's up to you to get out, and you don't know the way. None of these situations are pleasant to be in, but I would say Uncaged is definitely the worst one. No, thank you. It's not going to happen. I was already not on board with cave exploring after The Descent. Definitely not doing underwater cave exploring. No. It's unlike anything you've ever seen. It's unlike anything I'll ever see. Thank you. Not going to happen. Yeah. Ugh. So, if they were to do a third one, any thoughts on where they could go? Recaged? Where you're in a cabin and in a cage?
Someone could be put into a cage.
With a shark. Shark's in the cage with you.
Oh my gosh. Oh no. That surely seems like you're not going to succeed in that scenario.
Nope. It's got no teeth. Let's say that. So it can kill you, but it's going to take a while. So you just got to try and get out of the cage while the shark's sucking on your leg.
There could be more of a direct tie-in to Deep Blue Sea where it's, a type of facility of professionals similar to a Deep Blue Sea premise, and they somehow get stuck underwater with some sharks. I could see that happening.
Yeah, so we haven't got the novice divers. We've got people who know what they're doing down there, but maybe the threat is escalated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, well, there we go. 47 meters down 3. Coming soon, hopefully. We'll have you back on to talk about it. So we need to know how Deep Blue Sea is this film? How adjacent is it? So slightly shorter list than the last time around. And some of these are stretches. So early on there is a high jump into the water, just like Susan does towards the end of Deep Blue Sea. It's kind of shot the same as well. It seems like just pencil dive in. We see a scene where the girls strip down into their underwear or bikinis. Happens in Deep Blue Sea. Always have to point out. This didn't feel like a really leery film. Whereas like Shark Night was like, oh, pervy, let's watch these girls get undressed. This kind of felt like, they're going swimming. They're in the bikinis for a little bit and then they put on wetsuits.
Yeah, there's
didn't
no
feel...
like Fast and Furious style voyeuristic camera work going on.
Yeah, the camera's not at chest height and then panning down to butt height for a scene.
Yeah. It's like, they're gonna be in bikinis. They're not the skimpiest bikinis, but they're realistic bikinis, I suppose. And you're going to see them, but it doesn't feel like they're trying to capitalize on that.
Yeah. Although there seemed like a bit of a walk from where they parked to where they went for a swim. They were not dressed for a little hike. They were all just wearing like bikinis and shorts and like not adequate footwear,
Bands.
no bags.
Yeah.
Just not impressed. So in Deep Blue Sea, the sharks have heightened intelligence, and here they have heightened senses because they are blind. There is one famous actor in the cast, which is John Corbett, as opposed to Sam Jackson. Just as the same with 47 Meters Down, Carl's head appears over Mia's shoulder, just like Jim's head appears in Deep Blue Sea, and just like someone's head appeared in that one. We already mentioned Nicola's ripped in half by two sharks, just after John Corbett gives his inspirational speech. So, Sam Jackson death. Alexa hangs upside down at one point in the water, just like Carter does. Sasha is dragged around by the shark on the surface, like Preacher. Mia stabs the shark in the eye with a totem, just like Preacher. As a lot of the same parallels as in last week's film. And there's sharks in hallways, just like Deep Blue Sea. Sharks in small enclosed spaces. So again, not very Deep Blue Sea adjacent, other than hey, there's sharks in this.
I couldn't remember. Do sharks go up stairwells, swim up stairwells filled with water in Deep Blue Sea?
They swim down a stairwell.
Because sharks were really going through these stairwells in this movie.
Well, that's how the shark that gets Preacher in the kitchen, is going for Preacher in the kitchen, we see that shark disappearing down the surface into one of the stairwells.
I remember that now.
Oh, that's basically the scene you were on, I think.
Yes.
Just after that.
I have seen that movie, or that scene many times.
Yeah. And in terms of depth and blueness, so last week we worked out 47 Meters Down was 97.5 feet deep, 81% blue. Do you reckon this one is deeper and or bluer?
I would say yes, but I'm not as confident.
It is deeper and bluer than Deep Blue Sea, but less deep and less blue than 47 Meters Down.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so it works out about 45% blue, which is actually bluer than I thought it was going to be. Because watching this, it's just murky throughout, but there is a fair amount of blue within the murk. And depth-wise, I just had to guess a lot of it because there's no indication. And so I took it as when they get dragged to the bottom of the current thing, at that point they're 47 meters down. And just kind of worked backwards from there.
That actually does seem like, based on what we saw, somewhat of a realistic estimate for how deep that went down.
Because they had to be at some point, because it's the title of the bloody film. So I refuse to believe they were not 47 meters down at some point in the film. God damn it. So we've done the franchise. There we go. 47 meters down and Uncaged covered. I hope you've enjoyed it. And Jess, have you done anything plug-wise since we last spoke?
No, I would just say...
But it's been an hour. What are you...
Check out my episode of Deep Blue Sea 47 meters down. If you were going backwards, if you decided to start here, maybe go back.
Yeah, do it. We have to go back. It's like a lot. Excellent. Well, listeners, you can still find the podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Deep Blue Sea Pod, or email us deepblueseapod@gmail.com. Find me on Twitter at LifeVSFilm. Read more of my writings over at lifevsfilm.com. Listen to me every month on the Lambcast, hosting a movie trivia podcast called Lampardy. And I forgot to plug Mark's stuff last week. You can find more of Mark's writing and podcasting over at Movies, Films and Flicks, FLIX. He's always got a lot of fun stuff going on over there. And we're not quite sure yet. He might be back next week. We're not sure. His schedule's still a little bit up in the air. He still has a small child. That's unlikely to change for a long time. But we're recording this a little in advance, Jess. So this is actually going to come out the week before Christmas. This episode.
Okay.
So next week might be our Christmas episode, and it turns out there is a Christmas shark film. Any idea what that film might be called, Jess? If you had to come up with a pun name for a Christmas shark film.
It's not something like Merry Sharkmas.
It's not. Next year, Merry Sharkmas. This year, Santa Jaws.
Oh, okay.
Yep. It's probably going to be next week. We need to, let's say we're a month out at this point, so we need to sort out the schedule, but all being well, next week will be Santa Jaws, provided I can find a way to watch Santa Jaws before we record that show. Because it's never had a UK release. Fun times. But hey, thank you again to Jess for joining me for these films.
Thanks for having me. It was my joy as a film connoisseur to talk about these movies, and hopefully we convince some people to watch them, even though we spoiled the whole thing.
I hope we did. I mean, there's still a lot of joy to have in watching them. They are, in the UK at least, they are both on Netflix, so you can watch them there. But as for the 47 Meters Down films, I've been Jake Lower, and I'll deep blue see you next week.